Welcome to the latest edition of Sunday Night Overtime with Coach Claeys, brought to you by the Minnesota Lottery. It is a season review and bowl preview episode tonight here on the Minnesota Facebook page. I'm Justin Gaard from KFAN Radio and the sideline reporter for the Gopher Radio Network, joined as always by the head coach, Coach Claeys. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
You've been on the road a lot this week, but I know you returned today. All over college football today. You find out who's in the college football playoff. You find out who's in the New Year's Six. And you guys got some great news that you'll be taking part in the Holiday Bowl on December 27th against Washington State. How excited are you for that opportunity?
Well, we're all really excited. It's a great bowl. I've never been there, but we've got a lot of friends on the staff, and they say they take care of the kids. I mean, they treat you really good, and it's always been an exciting bowl game out there. It seems like it always comes down to the end. Most of the time, more of a high-scoring game, but it's something that has its own time on TV. I know it's watched a lot, and great weather of San Diego. So it's a great reward for a really good season we've had.
December 27th is the date. 6 o'clock Central is the time. And Coach is right. It's on ESPN. It's got its great window there. And, of course, you can listen to it on KFAN here locally on the radio. We'll have a month to talk about the Cougars. They were 8-4. Everybody, I think, knows their head coach, Mike Leach. He's a pretty infamous or famous coach, depending on how you look at it. But I doubt you've broken down a lot of all 22, so to speak. But what do you know about Washington State?
Like I say, like about everybody else, Mike has a offensive philosophy that he believes in. They're very good at it. The thing that's changed this year is they played a lot better defensively, and they've won more games, and so it'll be a big challenge. But we have one more week here to recruit on the road, and as coaches, is that we'll spend an awful lot of time out on the road this week again, and our other staff will be breaking down the film and be ready for us to go on Saturdays when we'll really dig into getting ready to go for the football game.
A reminder that we will take some Facebook questions tonight in our second segment after Sights and Sounds. So if you have a question for Coach Claeys, please drop it in the comments section there, and we'll get to it in our second segment. You mentioned you guys have been on the road recruiting, and you have another week here to spend time recruiting. The rest of us, the fans and the media and everybody, we've been decompressing, and we've been thinking about the season as a whole. I doubt you've had a ton of time to do that. I asked you about it after the Wisconsin game, how you evaluate the season. You go 8-4. I know there's some games and some halves more specifically that you'd like to have back, but have you had a minute to reflect or breathe on that season and kind of evaluate it?
Yeah, as you get time to, when you're traveling and spend some time at some airports, you get some dead time, and it's all, I guess it comes down to is that I do think, and I believe this was our best team coming back. I still believe that, is that we've closed the gap on some teams, and for the first time we had opportunities to win every game on the schedule. Now, I mean, as frustrating that is to the fans, it's just as frustrating as to the players and the coaches. We coach a few things a little bit different. Kids make a few more plays here and there. It takes a lot of hard work every year to get there. But at the same time, a lot of stars got a line right, and you need some luck. I mean, you just look all over the country. But I thought our kids played hard. They competed the whole time. And, I'd rather have fans disappointed than I would not care. But at the same time, as we're getting closer, we continue to build this thing. And look forward to the bowl game for sure. That's something for the seniors. We still got an opportunity to win 9 games, which hasn't been done here in a while. And I think that would be great for the seniors. At the same time, we've got an awful lot of good young players, and to get another 12 or 15 practices in to help them will definitely be a springboard into next season.
Big Ten championship game was last night. Penn State beat Wisconsin. 2-part question. Number one, are you one that watches that game? And then number 2, the tweets and stuff I got last night were the Gophers were ahead at halftime, double digits of the Big Ten champion on the road. Do you feel that as coaches as well, that you are just kind of right there and it's just like you said, stars aligning?
No question. And again, I'll tell you, as coaches, there's always adjustments we can make, and we'll be better next year as a staff. This is our first time to work together, and we'll get those little kinks worked out. There's a few plays there that the kids had a chance to make and didn't make the plays, and it wasn't because of effort or that, just didn't work out. Ball's shaped funny, and sometimes it doesn't bounce your way. But we did play hard, and I didn't watch the game. I'm sitting there, and I was going to. Then you go, hey, the 2 teams in the championship. That's 2 of our 3 road losses, or 2 teams that are playing in the championship game, and we had our chances, and so I'm like, I'll get a chance in the off season to break down that video, but very proud of our kids, and and for how hard they've worked and what they've done, and so the Holiday Bowl is a very good reward for them.
Let's spend a minute or two reviewing kind of the All Big Ten awards that have come out, as well as some of your individual achievers this season. Starting with the kicker, Emmett Carpenter, we talked a lot about in this space on Sunday nights. He was named the Big Ten Kicker of the Year, 21 of 23 on field goals this year. I think he's made his last 11, and he did spend some time in Indianapolis. Don't know how much he checked out on the game. He was there, but he certainly was aware of it. But Emmett Carpenter, an unknown to all of us, unknown to you, obviously. What can you say about the year he had stepping in?
I'll tell you what, unbelievable. But, I think there's a couple things that helped that. He worked awfully hard and with Ryan's thing, but when that decision was made back in the spring, what we were going to do, it let both those kids work on what they wanted to do. And so Emmett knew it. He put a lot of time into it, and he is, Mr. Consistency. That's what he is. And, like I say, it's an odd thing of finding somebody who can make it from 54, 55 is that we'd like to have somebody when you get to the 30-yard line around there will make it every time. He had a couple of them that he kicked over 50 yards, but it couldn't happen to a better kid who's worked hard and deserved that opportunity. So we look forward to getting him back.
Defensively, you have Steven Richardson make a team and some others honorable mention. Just no surprise really with Steven. I assume most people think he could have maybe even been higher, the impact he had. But defensively, what did you think about the representation? I think that defensively, you always feel like you wish you get more of your kids, but at the same time, we got to win a couple more of those games to get more of them on there. But they played awfully well, and we started out the year a little bit slow, but as the season went on, I thought defensively we got better and better, and Steve was a big part of it. But John and Demarius Travis is the one that I think is. Of anybody who I was a little disappointed, I thought he should have been higher than what he was. I think he's an awfully good football player and a senior who's done an awful lot for us and worked hard. But is that those awards? It's the same thing. They're not what wins football games, and we have a bunch of good football players, and we played a bunch of young guys also, and so excited to have them back and some of these seniors to have one more game and even the younger guys to get to play against a different team you're not used to and go to a bowl game. It'll be a great experience for all of them. Offensively, the people represented, Drew Wolatarski, Jonah Persig, Rodney Smith, of course. We're going to spend some time on Rodney in a minute. But, where do you think offensively you would have been if not for Drew Wolatarski and Jonah Persig, who, of course, battled some injuries and things like that, but a couple of big upperclassmen for you this year?
No question. They come through and all of them will tell you, Jonah would tell you, Drew would tell you, there's some things that they could have done better in certain games, but it wasn't because of effort. Again, our kids tried hard and played hard, and a lot of good things happened as we just couldn't get the stars to quite align in a couple of those to finish. But at the same time, as we played without Lingen. He's the best tight end. He'd have been one of the top tight ends in the Big Ten. And he didn't play in very many games this year. So we competed and played hard and when you look back as a whole, it's one of those things that I thought we closed the gap. I would argue that with anybody. We've gotten closer to the competition and closer to winning it, and we just got to finish it now. And so I think this game will be a good way for the seniors to go out, but also give us a chance to jump into next year.
Rodney Smith put up some big numbers. We talked in September or October, how do you get Shannon Brooks more carries? How do you get Rodney Smith more carries? I know you want to do the balance, and they're both great backs. Rodney seemed to emerge kind of halfway through the year and really turned into really the A back. You mix Shannon in there a lot, but what was key to Rodney taking off like he did there midseason?
I think it's the same thing, is that he works extremely hard during practice and on game day. That kid plays hard and does his responsibilities. But you look, he's on the punt team, he's on the kickoff return team, and I talked to him about, hey, we could save you a few reps and put somebody else in there, and he wanted to be involved in that. And so it all goes back to he loves football, and I think we've got a group now that the majority of them do love football. And the more kids that you have that truly love the game, they will work hard for you every day, and Rodney's one of those kids.
We're just getting going here on Sunday Night Overtime with Coach Claeys. When we come back after Sights and Sounds, we will take a number of Facebook questions that have been pouring in here in the first segment, as well as talk a little bit more about what goes into bowl preparation, what the month of December looks like for Coach Claeys and the rest of his staff and the team. But first, we want to get you caught up. It is now a Holiday Bowl season as the Gophers are bowl bound December 27th, San Diego, California. Holiday Bowl versus Washington State. A lot led up to this moment, and we get you caught up on it with our season review, Sights and Sounds.
Play for one another, be smart, be fast, take care of home base. Everybody good?
Otherwise, be violent, be physical, and let's have a great day.
You can count on me, and that's what we need. We need a bunch of count on me son of a guns in this hole. You guys got that?
If we come out here right now like we know we can, this game over with. They can't do nothing. It's all on us. It's all on us.
Every day, every play, as a team, we fight as one. If something happens, we just got to go to the next. That's the mindset that you got to have. Don't expect them to give you anything.
Look around you, man. Look around you. It's going to take more than a team to win this game. We got to be a family, a band of brothers. Seniors, man, look around. This is going to be our last time in this locker room. It got to mean something. Yeah. Look down in your face. Hey, fourth quarter, it's going to come down to hard. Every play. Blood, sweat, team. We a band of brothers.
There's a handoff to Brooks. Oh, he takes a helmet down and it bounces off. Down the middle of the field to the 10. And what a run by Shannon Brooks. Right back to the 20. Into the 10-5 touchdown. How about that run?
The way you're capable of playing. And Dominic defines good. Pressure every snap.
Wagner wants to go home run ball. He's got skill at midfield. It's caught in stride. And he's in for new territory. Beathard wants to go deep, and it is tipped and picked off by Harden. What a grab!
Winder with protection, looking downfield, and guess who? Drew Tarski again.
Hanging punt for the good return man Likely. Takes to the 15, and he is hit hard by Chennault.
Great work by the Gopher Digital Productions team all season long on those sights and sounds. They've got a staff of thousands that are on the field and tracking around with us, so we appreciate their work all year on that. And you can check out all of their good stuff at gophersports.com. That was about 2 minutes of the season. You know, it's 3 months basically condensed into 2 minutes. But sometimes it feels like that's how quickly it goes. We were just talking in August doing our camp preview show, and now we're talking about a bowl game. Does it sneak up on coaches as well, the season go by that quickly?
It really does. It just flies by each week, goes faster and faster. And you know, we had an early bye week, and so then we played 10 in a row. And so there at the end, I mean, it really did. You just kept going. And I give our kids credit. You know, it's hard to go 10 in a row and in a physical conference and that, but they kept bouncing back and practiced well and really played well with having to play 10 games in a row.
You mentioned that this next week will be spent recruiting. You guys will come back probably Saturday and start getting ready for bowl preparations. What is the balance of bowl prep, recruiting, and everything else that you're trying to do in this next 3 weeks or so?
Yeah, you know, since you don't play till the 27th, they give you 15 practices, and we'll probably get 13 of those in, because I just think they give you 2 weeks to recruit right now, and then they shut you down for a month. And so I think your emphasis has to be on recruiting these 2 weeks. So last week we were on the road. This week we'll be on the road. Like I say, we have our quality control people and graduate assistants. They'll be breaking down all the film. So we get back on Saturday and Sunday. We'll have fundamental practices on both of those days where we'll just work against each other and get back into the groove and work on fundamentals. And then we'll take 2 days and prepare, you know, and get all the game plans and everything from scouting team, kicking game, offense, defense. So we'll do that on Monday and Tuesday, and then we'll get into next Wednesday and start to practice. And I like to do it in 3 days, you know, practice 3 days, take a day off, practice 3 days, because you can't go, you know, 15 days or 12 days straight. And it's a fine balance, not so much between recruiting and preparing for the game, but preparing for the game and having your kids as healthy and ready to go. You don't want a tired football team going into a bowl game because you practice too much.
There's also the fine line of when you get to the bowl site, how much you're doing at the bowl site in terms of practicing. Every bowl has different rules. I'm sure SeaWorld will be a part of this. I'm sure San Diego Zoo will be a part of this. Have you been able to dive into that? I know you guys all plan for 2 or 3 bowl possibilities, but what's that going to look like? Have you decided when you're going to go down there and how that week will look?
Yeah, we're going to leave on the 23rd, and on the 24th we have a Navy ship tour. On Christmas afternoon, we're going to SeaWorld on the afternoon of Christmas. A little different type of Christmas than in the upper Midwest. And then on the 26th is the luncheon and a couple events like that we have to do before we play on the 27th. So we'll get it all scheduled out and give our kids a chance to do a little free time. But it's not that long down there since we're going down the 23rd is what it is on some bowls.
Let's get to the Facebook questions. I know we have a lot of them here on our final show, so we're going to try to get to as many as we can. We're going to start with Sean, who wants, I believe, to talk a little bit about those bowl practices, the extra practices. Every coach talks about the value of them. What are you looking to most improve on, or what's a thing or two that you're trying to improve on with those extra practices?
First is just the younger kids, getting them back in our offense and defense. They won't be a scout team player for the whole time, and so develop the younger kids as much as we can. Number 2 is that when it comes on the offensive side of the ball is finishing the plays, catching the balls. We still got to cut down on our drops. I think there's balls in there we can catch, and I tell kids all the time, you got to be able to catch the bad ones too. That's how you make money. A lot of people can catch the easy ones that are thrown right in the right spot, but the great ones find a way to catch the bad ones also. And so we'll work on that. And then, defensively is that we'll spend a lot of time on coverage stuff. Mike likes to throw the ball a lot, and so we'll do an awful lot of coverage stuff.
Tommy is our next Facebook question, wants to talk a little bit about Washington State, or at least the aura of Washington State. How you break down a team that you probably have as much film on as you want, because film's everywhere nowadays, but you don't see them every year, you don't go through them every year. They play all the way out in Washington. So how do you get their tendencies and all of that stuff?
Yeah, it's a little easier, like I say, because you have all the games, and it used to be like when we were 1AA and the Bulls, you'd call them that you'd agree 3 games, that's what you'd exchange. And so you had to try to figure out which 3 to pick out. And so that part of it's a little bit easier. But comparing athletes, I think, is probably the hardest thing because you don't get a chance to play them. We'll be able to go back, though, and look at them versus Oregon State and us versus Oregon State and try to get an idea. But besides that, especially, the times their games are on, is that not a lot of people in this area and farther east stay up for those games. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but at least we'll have film. And then, that first quarter will be figuring out where the matchups are at.
Well, if you pull your phone out right now, you can find Washington State clips, right? You probably have them loaded on your phone already. But are you old enough to remember the old days where you had to, meet other coaches at the airport and actually deliver film? I mean, it used to be a much different deal.
It did. I used to be the one that when I was in video, if you were within 6 hours, you drove. You drive 3 hours, meet them halfway, and turn around and come back. So all these people, technology is a good thing. We got to find a way to control it, but it's been a great thing for the coaching profession.
Saves you a little bit of time, I'd say.
Yes, it does.
A couple of more questions from Facebook with Andrew next. On the captains for next year chosen, first of all, maybe remind people who the captains are for next year. They had a nice torch passing ceremony at the banquet last Sunday, and how that came about.
Yeah, Rodney and John, and then Brandon was a captain this year.
Lincoln as well,
yeah. So he'll continue on, and then they were the consistent guys. Now Lincoln had a lot of the injuries now, but still the other 2 were the consistent guys that down in down out. That I think other people, they set the standard for everybody else by the way they do things, and that's kind of how you want captains. Those guys that are there every week and set the standard, a high standard, and then obviously if people do that next year during the year, we've always got the option to add 1 or 2 more to those captains. But it's a serious deal. If the people who come to the banquet and see the Passion of the Torch is one of the neatest traditions at a banquet that I've been a part of, and we take that very seriously.
Our last question of the night is from Adam, and our last question of the year is from Adam. He is our Minnesota Lottery question of the night. Wants to talk a little bit more about Washington State. How do you deal with a spread attack or a Mike Leach attack, typically not seen in the Big Ten? Everybody knows that he wants to sling it. You've mentioned that a couple of times. So how do you deal with that? How do you prepare for that?
It's really the work team is the hardest part. Is you got to have enough wide receivers and that for what he does, and the ball comes out so quick, so it's hard to get a good look in practice, but as far as the things they do, they're pretty simple, but they're very good on their reads, and the quarterback is so disciplined on his reads, knows where to throw the ball, when to throw the ball, and they do a great job of getting the ball to people in space, and so you got to tackle those people. Yards after catch or something will just be crucial in the game, because they're going to complete the balls and get people open. I mean, the way they do things, but you got to be able to match the route with the situation and take away the ones that'll hurt you and break up and tackle the short stuff, and then they do still do some draws and a bunch of screens, and so the look in practice is the hardest part of it for us to get prepared defensively.
Well, I appreciate, on behalf of everybody here for Gopher Digital Productions, we appreciate your open-mindedness with this new formatted show, throwing the coaches show online, and I know you're a big proponent of doing something different from everybody else, so we appreciate you showing up every Sunday at 7, and hope it wasn't too painful for you every Sunday dealing with us.
No, it's a great thing. I enjoyed it. I hope the fans enjoyed it, and hopefully they'll have a happy holiday season, and look forward to doing it again next year.
We'll see you in San Diego.
All right.
He's the head coach, Tracy Claeys. From all of us here at Sunday Night Overtime with Coach Claeys, we thank you for watching all season long, and like Coach said, we hope we see you next year. A reminder, the Gophers have one ball game left. It's the Holiday Bowl, San Diego, on December 27th versus Washington State. Tickets go on sale tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., at mygophersports.com. From all of us here, thank you, and thanks once again to the Minnesota Lottery.